So now I'm going to explain how the remix decks work as far as changing pages, and that's where I said that I had to use modifiers. So you can see here that I've added the modifiers in red, and for page 1, deck C, modifier 3, set to a value of 1, is going to say this is for page 1. For page 2, I'm going to use modifier 4, also set to a value of 1. That means this is page 2. And activate these cells here. Same thing here, modifier 5, activate these cells in page 3. And modifier 6, activate these cells in page 4. And again, the cell numbers tell us which page it is based on the way that Native Instruments numbers it. So page 1 is always cell number 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why the modifier is the same. I'm using one modifier. Page 2 is always cell 5, 6, 7, and 8, all the way down, doesn't matter what slot. So I'm going to use the same modifier, number 4. All right. Over here for deck C, just to keep it simple, I'm going to use the same modifier numbers, only I'm going to change the value to 2. And 2 will tell me that it's for deck D. So I'm using modifier 3, 4, 5, and 6 again to tell me what page I'm on. I think there's like 12 positions or something. Let me see how many there are for modifiers. Because you get like 8 modifiers, but here, let me zoom in. Oh, here they are. You get 8 modifiers, and they have 8 modifier states. There it is. So let's get to the modifiers. Okay, here we go. Here are my modifiers. 3, 4, 5, and 6. 5 and 6. All right. And again, I have my comments over here for the pages. I don't have the deck D and C written in here because I haven't updated it. I haven't moved it over. But anyway, moving on. So that explains how I use the modifier. Oh no, here's the other key part. So now that I've made the modifier button, that's one button, how then do I assign it to the slots? Here's where I assigned them to the slots. So here's slot 1. Cell 1 is modifier 3. Slot 1, cell 13 is modifier 6. If I go back here, let's see if that's true. Modifier 6. Slot 1, cell 13, modifier 6. Okay? So you put your modifiers over here when you create your, you add in your command or your control, assign a deck to it, what it does, what the number is. So here it is, channel 7, number 1 for slot 1, cell 1, and I'm using modifier 3. That tells me that's on the first page. Down here is where I actually assign the modifier. Here it is, modifier 3, value set to 1. You can have 2 modifiers. I haven't worked that out yet on how you use 2 modifiers, but I do know how to use 1. You also have to assign your deck and also tell it, what kind of button it is and what you want it to do. Whether it's a button, okay? All right, so that is how you do the modifiers. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you can email me. I'll explain it. All right, so what else do we want to do here? Oh, the GIFs, which I already did. So I'm going to delete this GIF. I'm going to delete it and make it again and show you how I made it. Okay. So you'll notice one of my platters is all nice and cool and has color, and the other one doesn't. It's kind of boring. Let's turn the mouse on. I'll show you how it works. See? It works. But I wanted to kind of jazz it up some. So one of the cool things about this new software 1.5 is that you can make GIFs into buttons. So I'm going to make a button. It's on the next page here. I'm going to select image, click down here, and here's the image that I want to use. Alright, and to make it like the other one, all I did was stretch it out and make it match the platter that I already have. Alright, now notice that once I turn the mouse back on and I try to activate the platter, instead it's activating the GIF. That's because the GIF is sitting on top of the platter. So let's go back to edit mode, select that GIF again. I want to put it under the platter, so I'm going to use the Z order. Let me zoom in here so you can see that. This thing here called Z order, if it's negative it's going to be under it, and if it's positive it's on top of it. I want this GIF to be under the platter, so I'm going to hit the negative, and voila, it's under the platter. So let's turn the mouse on, and now the control is on top of that GIF, and it should work. There it goes. Okay, so that is the way that I created these cool platters. The other thing I did, fit the screen here. The other thing I did was, oh, I need a button to get back to page 6. Let's do that. Okay. I need a button. Actually, whoops, let's undo that. Actually, I'm just gonna copy and change it around. I want it to be the same size, so I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna move it over here. Gonna change the color to blue. I'm gonna change the name. I'll zoom in. Instead of it's going to be remix. And I need to say what page it is. It's going to go to page 6. And right now we're on 4. So I need to float this button to all these other pages so I can use it. So let's go back and do it this way. So we'll hit float to, I'm going to float it to page 1. float it to page 2. I'm going to float it to page 3. And float it to page 5. And float it to page 6. Float to 6. Oh, and I got some other buttons I need to float over. So let's go back to page 4 and we'll float these over to page 6. Float to page 6. Float to page 6. Float to page 6. Earlier I floated this is for C and D, the volume for C and D. I floated those to, where did I float it? Yeah, to this page. Because I may be working, this is like one of my main pages, and let's say I want to cut those remix decks out. There's my volume control there, right here. What else did I do? Do I need to do? Oh, I need to program the GIFs. Okay, so what I wanted to do is notice how they're flashing, but they're not lit up. I have them programmed so that, oops, put the mouse on, so that when a track is playing, it lights up. Should light up. Oh, I didn't program it. Let's try that again. Wait, I have this one programmed. There it goes. See how it lights up? Okay, so how did I do that? Alright, so how I did that was, again, it's all mapping. So let's go back to Traktor. And the control that I used, zoom in. The control I used here is called deck pre-fader level left and right. So, and it's an output, so it means that it's going to output an LED, which is to turn on the GIF. And where you find that, let's pretend we're going to add one. I'm going to add an output. It's in the mixer. It's under meters. It has to do with the volume meters. And so I picked the volume of the deck pre-fader for left and right channel. So that means that as soon as there's any volume on the deck before the fader, it's going to light up that GIF. Alright, so I don't need that. Let's see, did I? Okay, I didn't make a new one. Good. Alright, the other thing too that I learned is this range. It was 0 to 1, and that was too wide of a band, so I made it 0 to 0.5 so that if the volume is low, which it usually is when a track starts, it'll trigger it. If I leave it at 0 to 1, then it's gonna take a while. Like as soon as the bass drops, then it would trigger it. Well, I don't want it that way. I want it to trigger sooner. So that's just another thing that you tweak. Let's see, did I also show you guys? So I showed you all the modifiers. Here again is where I set the modifiers for the cells. Notice how I've got, okay, we're looking at slot 4, cell 8, cell 4, 8, 12, and 16. That's all on they're all on different pages. So their modifiers are different, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the value of 2 means that it's for deck D. And here's where you set it. Like right here, this one that's highlighted is modifier 4 set to a value of 2, means that it's going to control deck D, and it's also going to tell me what page. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. Modifier 4 was for page 2. Alright, so that's how the modifiers, you make the button modifier and then you assign it to another control. And that's how you can have 16 buttons control 64 items. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, send me a note or a comment on YouTube and I'll get back with you and answer it as soon as I can. Let's see what else. Let's play around with this a little bit just so I can show you that this does work. Let's turn the mouse on. Close that out. Here's my EQs. Let's go to the remix deck. There we go. I clicked on remix. It took me to page 6. Here I can see my tracks running underneath, which is nice. And I'll beautify this up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to cut this piece off here, and I'm going to cut this piece off here. And I'm going to decorate this, but let me just show you how this will work. So here we are on page 1. I'm going to activate and see what happens here. Okay. Here we go. Alright, so that shows you that that works. Let's see, let's go back to the platters. Oops, I gotta float to that. here's how the halos are working. And I can show you guys on another one how you set these up. My delay. And that's your lesson for today.